love of all creation. It's all about the right choice. It can be knowing what or who is right for you. There are different types of love. You don't please that guy, you don't please that woman. You just take care about their goodness, and that is all. So you respect yourself, you respect the other being, and that's what brings that wholeness. They create their own garden and they are connected through the rose. The angel represents that higher values perspective, higher way of loving. We interchange the roles. We slowly but steadily become parents of our parents. Symbolic love, basically, which is not even true love, it's the conditional love, and that is the true unconditional type of love. One of the most mysterious cards in the major Arcana deck, it's the Lovers. Look at this. The Lovers literally represents love, love of all creation. It's the glue of all creation. Which kind of keywords do you see when you look at this card? Let's contemplate about it. So obviously it's completeness. It is commitment when we are talking from the positive aspect of this card, and from another perspective, it's all about the right choice. Let's contemplate it slightly more. What can it be else? It can be knowing what or who is right for you, right? So I am defining what is right and what is not right for me. And why it's easy for me? Because I already acquired the codes of definition and knowledge power within this card, right? That's why when we go to this card after instilling, encrypting the codes of Hierophant within us, it is natural that we are going to a mature love. If we overjumped this card and we didn't instill any codes from this card within us, then this card may represent the immature type of love which is based on instincts. When I was starting love in general, I figured out there are different types of love, and you all probably know. So the first type of love, it is instinct-based love, right? So instinct-based love, it is all about that sexuality, hormones, and we tend to do mistakes whenever we are driven just by hormones here in this reality. We women, we all are blessed with our first bastard, like I'm saying it, and many times we rush into the relationships when we get our knowledge and we become the hierophants of our creation, and we go to that self-love perspective. So it is not an easy pathway, but for many it is the pathway to reignite your inner empress, to come back to that self-nurturing, self-loving aspect. But remember, you come back, you descend in the major Arcana deck. But in order to ascend back, you have to meet your emperor, you have to come back to all the knowledge, to the sacred geometrical cycle, to start seeing more, start trusting more, and then when the true deep spiritual core love will be opening up to you, and you will start seeing so much more in love than it was for you before, like the instinct-based love. Now it's more not just about self-love and self-honoring love, it's already loving another being. Why? Because you went over the service card and you can serve another soul in a healthy way, because you stop seeing another one as a separate being. You just see another one as a representation of life. That is all. You don't please that guy, you don't please that woman, you just take care about their goodness, and that is all. You see literally God within them, but they don't rule you because you respect. Remember, the code of respect has been honored within you, has been mastered if you did it correctly. So you respect yourself, you respect the other being, and that's what brings that wholeness, that correct seeing of another being. Now let's analyze the card. Here we can see Adam and Eve, and they are shameless. They literally are shameless. They are without clothing. They can see the beauty of each other. We see the rose and the bee. The bee is pollinating the rose naturally. There is that natural tension, right? Hormonal tension there in between those lovers. Now, they also represent the eternal cycle of creation, the moon and the sun, the moon and the sun. The moon comes into the sun comes into the moon. So it's all like the wholeness of this creation is represented through that symbolism. Now, they create their own garden and they are connected through the rose. The rose is one of the most powerful sacred geometry symbols here in this universe, if you will study it. And they literally create that rose petal by petal, petal by petal, in a nurturing way. They are very patient towards each other. Now, they are covered by the cloud from the angel, and the angel represents that higher values perspective, higher way of loving. If when you pull that card and you focus on the cloud first, you focus on all the obstacles in between each other automatically. Your subconscious level somehow focused on the obstacles between you both, between you and your beloved ones, whichever the relationships you are currently analyzing. Now, the angel also has that shadow body. It is covered with lots of clothing. So if you pay attention immediately to lots of clothing there, so probably you augment that obstacle mind approach towards your relationships. The interesting part about the angel is that he is in equanimity, and it just represents that if we are looking into the relationships between each other through the equanimity perspective, then everything gets into place. We start seeing, we get through the cloud and we start seeing so much more from the God's perspective, right? Now, I specifically created it in such a way that from the God's perspective, he creates for us lots of riddles here. So initially, I'm representing the moon, right? So we can see the moon side and the lots of stars here, and he is in this physical realm is representing the sun, right? But with time, our roles in the spiritual realm actually change, because I, as a woman, as a wife, I shine his way, I nurture his way out into this world. I am providing for him that deep spiritual core guidance. So I'm just like the guide here for my husband, whichever the man I chose here in this reality. And then he is nurturing me how I am nurturing him in this physical perspective, meaning that he's kind of like the soil for me there. He is like the moonlight for me on the spiritual perspective level, but I am lighting his way, and he is providing that nurturing aspect. And later in life, you will see that you girls become more and more active and guys become more and more equipped with feminine skills in them. And that's so beautiful to see how we interchange their roles. It's also seeing how we slowly but steadily become parents of our parents, how our parents actually become like children, and we have to literally guide them already like they guided us when we were kids, right? And take care about them. So it's really interesting how God interchanges the roles here in this reality, and that's exactly why I created that type of symbolism. Now, what else can you see on this card is the winds. If you are in equanimity, if you are in peace in your relationships have these wings, right? So you literally flying, you're flying there. But if you are not seeing it, you only see this part, and you may get drawn, and later on, guess what? You may get enchained into those relationships, and it's represented, guess by which card? Let me find that prominent card. This is it. This is the card. So if you go down, you will start being enchained into relationships in the chains of this physical reality, attachments to each other, and there is nothing but the diabolic side of it here, right? So you can never ever go to the perspective of God, deep spiritual core love. You go to the diabolic love, basically, which is not even true love, it's the conditional love, and that is the true unconditional type of love. Alrighty, now another interesting thing which I wanted you to pay attention to, if you look at this card from this perspective, what do you see? Tell me, what do you see? Do you see a fish here? So this is the fish body, this is the eye of the fish, this is the tail of the fish. Now, do you see it? It was designed that way specifically. Why? You are deeply nurtured by spirit, so you become like guided by your higher self. Fish has that symbolism of higher self. Now you are drawn to that creation which is in between the right man and the right woman, the right man and the right woman, and everything seems to be right. Now, if we analyze, let's analyze together the perspective of why the fish is so powerful as a symbol. So look at this. There is one circle and then there is another circle. Do you see this? What do you see in between? Does it remind you right now a fish? Let's have a look at it together. So do you see that this is exactly that fish? And it's in between two circles. And our eyes also have the same form as fish body, right? So when we start seeing everything from the equanimity perspective, guess what's happening? We are seeing this reality as we have to see it from the middle, from the peaceful state. And that's where we get opened to that true deep spiritual core love perspective, and not the love which is enchained, which is conditional.